Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Should I be the one driving the karma bus? That's what I had to ask myself here recently, because the part of me that I call Miss Social Media Snarky came out and did so on purpose to go after somebody that had posted something that came after me. Okay, so here's what happened. I shared something on social media that I thought was really important, that I felt would be a benefit. And almost immediately, somebody responded back with a very ugly comment that not only was around what I posted, but also was directed at me. And let me tell you, it didn't take me long at all, just a few seconds, to be able to put together a response back that not only refuted the person's claim, but also triggered their wound on purpose, because I could tell what their wound was, what their fear was, and I triggered it on purpose. And then I hit send. And I tell you right now, if you're going, oh, I would never do anything like that, this is not for you today, because I was actually like, yes, that felt good to put them in their place. Yeah. Then almost instantaneously, as I'm reveling in the feeling of, yeah, I'll show them, my higher power talked to me. Yes, I hear it frequently. Some people call it higher power, soul self, higher self, self-actualization, inner advisor. But almost immediately it was, did you really need to be driving that karma bus? Okay. What do we mean by that? When we get triggered by someone else's actions, we're being triggered typically because of one of two things. Either our values have been violated or our fear has been engaged. When our values are violated, that's when we need to stand up for ourselves. That's when we need to draw healthy boundaries. That's when we need to say, you know what, this type of behavior is not allowed. But engagement of fear will just have you lashing out in a way that not only will hold you back, because now your mind, once you lash out, your mind is on point to find the next thing that could set off your fear, and you're becoming hyper aware, and now there's challenges everywhere you look. See, fear is about others, values are about you. So let's see what's been violating your values and what's been engaging your fear. So you have the value of certainty. Certainty says this is what I can count on in life. Unfortunately, for far too many of us, we were conditioned and trained that we were only going to be okay based on what others were doing. What we really want to achieve and experience is a sense of security that says if it is to be, it is up to me. Then from there, we move into freedom, to where we have choices. But if we feel like our choices are being taken away, then there's going to be a lot of drama, instead of saying, okay, how do I need to put down healthy boundaries to be able to say, this is my values and I have a right to them. From there, we move into worthiness. Worthiness shows up dysfunctionally as saying, I either need to martyr myself for others for them to be okay, or I need to save them because they can't do it all on their own. And based on what I just told you a little while ago, that whenever we get triggered, we can become hyper aware. Well, now you're looking for everyone that needs to be saved and all the ways you need to martyr yourself to make that happen. Ooh, what we really want is significance, to where you and I pair up together and we create something greater than what we could do each on our own. From there, we move into validation. Validation shows up dysfunctionally as saying, I need to hold myself back so others don't feel bad. Really, what we want as far as the highest expression of validation is love. But no one will do to us what we aren't already doing to ourselves. We need to experience love for ourselves before we can truly love someone else. Now, that's what's known as the core four. And over 80% of people bounce around on the dysfunctional sides down there. But there's 3 levels above this. It's called the levels of the spirit. This is the actualization, you bringing your gifts out into the world. And the next level is truth. When you find that there's personal truth, but there's also global truth. So it is incorporating what is great for you as well as what is great for others. And I'll get to that in my lesson in just a moment. After that, we go to knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is having a bunch of book sense, but it doesn't do anything for you. Wisdom says you're actually activating, you're using that knowledge, but here's the challenge. When you do that, you're going to fail more frequently than you succeed. In fact, Pareto's principle tells us 80% of the time, what you do is not going to work out, but it's going to lead to the 20% that does, which is 1 out of 5. Most people stop at trying one thing. And then from there, we go into the level of leadership or contribution. Leadership, you're just creating followers. You want little mini-me's that will do your bidding. Total authority corrupts totally. Then you have contribution. Contribution says, this is how I'm going to serve you. This is the reason why I come to you on Tuesdays with these lessons I've learned, usually the hard way, is because I want to contribute to your life and bringing out your magnificence and your brilliance. Okay. So those are your values. When a value has been violated, and we have laws around our values, but we also have moral laws. Not just legal, but moral. And when a value has been violated, you need to ask yourself what needs to be done. Does the value need to be upgraded, or is it trying to tell you that what is being done is fundamentally wrong? But that is different. That is different than your fears being set off, than engagement with your fears. And so we have 6 fears. These are where we get dysfunctional. Fear number 1, which is the fear that then leads to opening the door to all the other fears. The fear of being wrong, which leads to the need to be right. And that's what we see a lot of people poking their fingers into others going, you're wrong, because they're feeling that they need to win, and sometimes at all costs. Fear, by the way, is learned. We're only born with 2 fears. We're born with the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Every fear after that is learned. Over 80% of the fears you have as an adult were learned by age 8 based on the fears that others around you had. Okay, fear number 2, the fear of uncertainty and your ability to be able to move confidently through whatever comes your way by giving yourself the space to fail and learn from it. No, if you have the fear of uncertainty, it will lead to you being a control freak, because you can't control yourself. You can't control your focus. You don't know what to do with the fear when it shows up, and you certainly aren't taking actions that are going to lead to the outcome that you're looking for. Fear number 3, the fear of not being needed, which leads to the dysfunctional experience of doing too much. Oh, yes. If I just do more in this area, I'll finally earn the right to have this fear go away. No, it's going to be on point, and it's going to continue to find all the ways that you are lacking. Fear number 4, the fear of being a victim, which leads to the need to take everything personally. With things that are going on in society right now, I don't think I need to say a whole lot more about that one. Fear number 5. Oh, the fear of not being special. So that leads to the need of being important. And then I already talked about that dysfunctional need. You'll either have to sacrifice yourself for others to be okay, or you will continually try to save them. Someone who's a dysfunctional giver this way only attracts dysfunctional takers. And then finally, the fear of not being liked, which leads to the dysfunctional need of being appreciated, which basically says, nobody is noticing everything that I'm doing for them. Oh, how dare they? All right, so when I was triggered, I had to ask myself, was it a value that was violated, or was it a fear that had been tripped? Because I'm driving the karma bus. I want my bus to drive because one of my values was not violated. I have no challenge in when someone violates a value and I feel like that we cannot continue in that experience together, cutting them out of my world. It's as simple as that. And I had allowed this person in to my world to be affected by their fear, which triggered mine. So I had to ask myself, what do I need to do right now to be better for me? And then after that, what do I need to do to be better for my family? And then after that, what do I need to do to be better for my friends? And then my community. You're part of that community. And then I had to take it to the next step. What does it mean for me to be better for my enemies to benefit? Not that I'm a doormat and they get to come in and do whatever they want, but the fact that I am going to lead by example. I am going to hold myself to a higher value system. Keep this in mind. Haters hate up, they don't hate down. Bitterness and resentment builds, and when it builds in them and they don't know what to do with it, they want to tear down the very structure that they feel is the barrier that is holding them back. I was the barrier to me, and I needed to be aware. I needed to get off that bus, and I needed to start being the best I could be. So what does it mean for you to be the best version of you, where your enemies would actually benefit from the better world that you are building? What does that look like? If you want assistance with this, I have a class coming up, virtual. Mission, Vision, Purpose, Path. Living your legacy of leadership now. But here's the caveat to that. This class is only available to people who have already worked with me privately. Why would I do that? Because in this workshop, I'm showing them the tips, tools, and techniques I have used for what's known as transfer of authority or transfer of power. Transfer of authority and power for the pyramid, as well as how to optimize fear and use it as extra energy to be their very best. And that can only take place when they've already worked with me and they understand the system that I've used. That sounds like something you might want to pursue. You can go to canhypnosishelpyou.com, see what it is that I offer, as well as my associates. You want to know that when you work with me, it's not just a one and done session. Our session is going to be 2 hours. The first half of it is going to be coaching around everything I just shared with you. And then the second half is going to be the hypnosis session where we begin to reveal who you really are, that upgraded identity that has always been there on what you value. It was just never placed in the correct internal environment for you to bloom and blossom into it. You then have a follow-up coaching call with me, anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks after your session, to where we're looking at accelerating your results. You also have access to a program called Life Mastery through self-hypnosis, to where I'm going to teach you how to do for yourself what I've done for you, because I want you to be empowered. I'm already starting the transfer of authority right away. That investment for your rapid results package is $497. This is not something to where, oh, I'll just be able to read a book, a few chapters of a book, and listen to a few videos and audios, and I got this going on. No, you've got a wound and a fear that is holding you back. The wound is keeping you from expressing your values. The fear is keeping you from moving forward. We need to bring that together and actually have it pedestal into your next level of success. And because of my expertise in doing that, there is an investment. CanHypnosisHelpYou.com. Okay, let's wrap up then with your plan of action. Start looking at what's been triggering you in the last 72 hours. Go through the values and say, is it because it's violating a value? And I need to understand how to have the fuller expression of me in a healthy way, drawing those boundaries, putting myself into a container to where I can have that expression of self. Or is it a fear? And if it's a fear, I'll be lashing out at others, trying to control them because I don't know how to do it for myself. And then follow up with the questions of, how are you better for yourself today, for your family, for your friends, for your community, and finally, for your enemies to benefit, because you're building a better world. I look forward to working with you in building your brilliance even brighter, because the world's pretty dark right now. It needs your light more than ever before. Thank you for allowing me to serve you today.